McMedic's got the faith, tacos bring in the fire. Napkins and schizo, raise the thoughts higher.
With Calystus in the mix, we're breaking the mold.
Adventures untold, both brave and bold. See on the quest where the shadows gleam. We're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance game and play straight from the heart. Oh, brothers of Steve, brothers of Steve. Oh, slim chance game and play straight from the heart.
From boss fights to prayers, every world we roam.
We're building connections and calling them home.
Roll the dice, press start, take a leap of faith.
In the glow of the screen, there's a sacred space. Pixelated skies, late night fights. Together we laugh and together we thrive.
From dungeons deep to celestial heights,
Slim chance gaming, let's play all night. Beyond the quest where the shadows gleam, we're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance gaming, play it straight from the heart. Oh, brothers of Steve, brothers of Steve. Oh, Slim chance gaming, play it straight from the heart.
so grab your gear, let's take the ride. McMedic, napkins by your side. Schizo and Calystus lighting the spark.
This is Beyond the Quest After Dark.
When the night comes alive and the lights grow dim, slim chance game and let the tales begin. McMedic's got the faith, tacos bring in the fire. Napkins and schizo, raise the thoughts higher.
With Calystus in the mix, we're breaking the mold.
Adventures untold, both brave and bold. See on the quest where the shadows gleam. We're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance game and play it straight from the heart. Oh, brothers of Steve, brothers of Steve. Oh, Slim chance game and play it straight from the heart.
From boss fights to prayers, every world we roam.
We're building connections and calling them home.
Roll the dice, press start, take a leap of faith.
In the glow of the screen, there's a sacred space. Pixelated skies, late night fights. Together we laugh and together we thrive.
From dungeons deep to celestial heights,
Slim chance gaming, let's play all night. Beyond the quest where the shadows gleam, we're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance gaming, play it straight from the heart. Oh, brothers of Steve, brothers of Steve. Oh, Slim chance gaming, play it straight from the heart.
so grab your gear, let's take the ride. McMedic, napkins by your side. Schizo and Calystus lighting the spark.
This is Beyond the Quest After Dark.
When the night comes alive and the lights grow dim, slim chance game and let the tales begin. McMedic's got the faith, tacos bring in the fire. Napkins and schizo, raise the thoughts higher.
With Calystus in the mix, we're breaking the mold.
Adventures untold, both brave and bold. See on the quest where the shadows gleam. We're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance game and play it straight from the heart. Oh, brothers of Steve, brothers of Steve. Oh, Slim chance game and play it straight from the heart.
From boss fights to prayers, every world we roam.
We're building connections and calling them home.
Roll the dice, press start, take a leap of faith.
In the glow of the screen, there's a sacred space. Pixelated skies, late night fights. Together we laugh and together we thrive.
From dungeons deep to celestial heights,
Slim chance gaming, let's play all night. shadows gleam. We're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance game and play it straight from the heart. Oh, brothers are speed up, brothers are speed. Oh, slim chance game and play it straight from the heart. Hey.
So grab your gear, let's take the ride. McMedic taco napkins by your side. Schizo and Calystus lighting the spark.
This is Beyond the Quest.
Beyond the Quest After Dark is intended for mature audiences only. It may contain strong language, humor, and topics that may not be suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised. You're going to hear real, raw footage of real-life first responders discussing anything and everything. You may hear from preachers, teachers, EMS personnel, 911 dispatchers, military veterans, and more. Nothing is off the table, and nothing is edited out. The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the group Slim Chance Gaming or our sponsors. Now let's get started.
What's going on, everybody?
Hi, y'all.
Welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Quest After Dark, where we got the whole crew, not just me, Taco, and Napkins. We got Schizo with us and Calystus.
Hello.
The Prince of Pentakills himself.
The long schlong of justice.
How is everybody day?
Not a bad day at all.
Fairly good. Fairly good.
Just taking down all the Christmas decorations.
Yeah, trying to.
Didn't put any up. Last time I put up Christmas decorations, AEP called me and they're like, "Hey, your electric's going up $200." I was like, "For some Christmas lights?" I was like, "Yeah, you know, because we're terrorists."
Yeah. For some reason, when Schizo talks, he reminds me of that Stoner Gump guy on TikTok.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, you're getting qualified to drive a truck again.
Yeah, they said I still got to go do 48 hours of ride time, man.
They're making you do ride time again?
They are.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 48 hours.
That's baloney.
I'm gonna get on there with Cruella DeVille and tell him how to do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Cruella DeVille is going to have you fired within the first week.
I'm pretty sure that Kenny's not gonna care if we clock out, and take it out in the parking lot.
Is that your plan?
Might be.
That's a hate crime.
Whatever works.
Because I'm gonna magically be gay too. Gay on gay violence or something.
I think that's allowed.
I'm not gay. But law enforcement don't know that.
You sure about that?
Some of the stuff you were saying on your stream last night.
It was asexual homosexuality. Okay? Wait, no, heterosexual.
Oh, you done let it out the bag, man.
Come on, Cal. You got to teach him better than that.
I said asexual, like I'm be birthing babies by myself or something.
Hey, don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, I mean, Cal was in the Army. He can tell you how to hide it.
I thought that was the Navy.
Oh, the Navy's all about it.
Sure.
It's funny you mentioned that because when I was going to join the military, I was going to join the Navy.
Seems fitting.
Fitting.
I mean, you know what they say: 100 men go down in a submarine and 50 couples come up.
Bear
Alright.
with us. We are trying to get audios adjusted too. So this is progress.
We did get a Q&A
We did.
after Monday's episode. Taco, I don't know if you're having internet issues or what, but it keeps saying that
This-
you disconnect and rejoin.
Yeah, this call thing keeps going to a black screen and then reloading on me. I don't know what's going on there.
So this message was submitted anonymously. It says that it is for everyone on the podcast,
This ought to be
and
good.
it says, "You all sound like you have been married, or at least in some sort of serious relationship, at least once in your life.
You'd be
What
wrong.
what advice would you give to a couple that's about to get married for the first time?"
Don't do it.
I'm gonna let the single people go first.
Don't do it.
Poor Schizo, it's another one gone from you. Well, actually, in your case, if they commit, then that's another one on the table for you.
Waiting on Courtney.
Well, my advice would be make sure you're definitely sure of it, that that's what you want to do. Having been married before, I learned the hard way that you can't just go on hopes and dreams to make a marriage last.
Yeah, you
Around
gotta
dreams
find the
of
right
divorce.
person. See, after I got out of the army, I thought about going back, and I went and seen the recruiter, and we talked about a little bit of stuff, and he asked if I've ever been married. I said no. He said, "You have any kids?" I said no. He's like, "Good for you. Never married, no kids. Good for you." Nah, I wouldn't mind it. Just gotta find the right lady.
Yeah, I'm gonna say make sure you both are 110% sure of each other. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And be careful because it can be a trap. Hashtag last 8 years.
I would say, like everybody else, you make sure it's the right person. You both love each other. You go forward with it. You put God first, and you just keep going. You follow His lead and let Him guide you all together. That's about the only way you can make it work. By the way, Taco keeps telling me your stream is buffering.
Yeah,
I
I'm getting the same
don't know what's going on.
Y'all don't know either. He keeps telling me you're buffering, going in and out.
Alright. So that's all the question submissions or anything that we have so far. If anybody does want to reach out to us, make sure you go to beyondthequest.com and hit the contact us button, or send an email to info@beyondthequest.com. So Monday and previously we've talked about, circling back to some of the things we've talked about on the show, or on the other show, the morning show, Beyond the Quest. We talked about bringing some of that to light here on Beyond the Quest After Dark, and I feel like a good one to start out with.
You gonna read our hate?
Yeah, I'm gonna read the YouTube comment actually.
Okay.
So on our very first episode, we talked about
A lot of
our
stuff.
views. Yeah, we did talk about a lot of stuff, but one of the things we talked about is our views and opinions on people, drug addicts. Not to sugarcoat anything, just we talked about drug addicts, and we talked about how
Schizo, are you fighting somebody right now?
Yeah, I'm punching napkins in the face.
we talked specifically about the EMS, how EMS can kind of be callous to it, and how we believed that there should be almost like a strike method to it. So many strikes and you're out type deal. So on our first episode after it aired, we got this comment on YouTube, which I'm going to read. Bear with me; it is a little long.
You can only Narcan Jim Bob so many times.
But it says, I do believe that drug addiction is, back up a little bit of preface here. We said that we don't necessarily believe the argument that drug addiction is a disease. It's a choice, not a disease. So this person, who goes by Rain377, said, I do believe that drug addiction is akin to a disease and is hardly comparable to struggling with coffee or nicotine. Of course, both substances are addictive drugs in the strictest sense of the word. And people who struggle with nicotine and caffeine addictions are valid in their desire to also be visible and have access to relevant sources that might help them with their addictions. But some substances are just more addictive than others and have a more adverse effect on one's psyche. In my opinion, drug addicts deserve help and compassion just like everyone else. I've read a lot of studies by drug addicts, both practicing and after have gone after having gone clean, and it's never a happy tale. People get forced into drug abuse by poverty, mental health crisis, abusive families and partners, loneliness, toxic friend circles, and lack of stable support system. And many do reach a point where a medical intervention and professional help are necessary for them to quit. Otherwise, the withdrawal might straight up kill them. You're very right, and the system is inherently broken. The fact that people who are struggling with addiction and their families receive little to no help they need is tragic, and ideally, medical workers should never be put in a situation where they have to choose which dying person deserves their care and attention more. They should have enough people and resources to help everyone who needs it. However, I disagree with the notion that some people deserve medical attention more than others. I have never used drugs or even smoked, but that's not because I inherently am a better person or a better Christian than someone who does do drugs or smokes. I just happen to live in an environment that never presented drugs or smoking as as a viable option I'd want to choose in my life. For many people who are addicts, drugs were the only option they had at the time, and that absolutely sucks. But that alone does not make one a bad person. Nothing excuses bad parenting, of course, and children of any parent who is in no condition to parent decently deserves a safe and happy home that the parent cannot give them. But blaming people for being addicts and not stopping out of their own volition isn't really going to help anyone because that's not how addiction to hard drugs work most of the time. You need actual medical intervention, one more serious than than just the hospital giving you some meds and pushing you back out into the toxic environment that led to drug abuse in the first place. The war on drugs should be fought against the cartels that profit off them and the government that doesn't care to fund medical care facilities and research into rehabilitation therapy because they have wars to sponsor and prisons to fill. The addicts themselves are oftentimes victims of circumstance, trapped in their own personal hell. Who knows, if I was born in an environment where drugs were the only affordable way for me to escape horrible living conditions by getting high, would I be strong enough to refuse? What if the person offering me the drugs was my parent or an older peer I trusted? What if it was my partner, the only person I could rely on? It's very scary to think about as a non user, but for many users out there, that's a grim reality, not a hypothetical situation. I obviously do not condone child neglect or abuse, whether committed by addicts or not, but I wouldn't put my life above the life of a drug addict. We are both human, we both have inherent value. If the life if the life of a Nobel Prize winner or a star athlete is no more valuable than mine in the eyes of God, why should my life be any more valuable than that of a drug addict's?
There's a mouthful.
Yeah.
We're not saying that they're
Come on,
less
Schizo.
valued.
Tell him how you really feel.
We're not saying they're less valued. But if I have to respond to Jim Bob 5 times a week to Narcan him, let me put it this way: if there came a day, okay, uh, McMedic was my partner for 2 years on an ambulance, and his dad has heart problems. My mom has cancer. If I have to respond to Jim Bob to Narcan him for the 5th time this week, rather than going to get his dad for chest pain or my mom because she's having trouble breathing, guess who I'm going to go for? I can use the one resource to save somebody, or I can use up resources countless times to save somebody who's going to go back and do the exact same thing again.
Truth.
It's not that they're more or less valuable, it's that resources are being expended to the point that other people need help, but they can't get it.
Right.
You know, grandma, she's had let's say grandma's fallen off a roof and she takes pain relievers. Okay,
What's
pain's
grandma
so bad
doing on
one
the
night
roof?
she overdoses. She takes a little bit too much of her pain relief. She overdoses. But while we're out overdosing Jim Bob, who's taking his 5th shot of heroin for the day, grandma, who just made a simple mistake, is now dying in bed because we can't get to her. Dad's having a heart attack. He can't get to him. My mom can't breathe. I can't get to her. And that's a big problem here in Eastern Kentucky. That's where
It
we're
really
from.
is.
From Eastern Kentucky. We have one of the highest opioid addictions in the country.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could walk like to a neighbor and get whatever I wanted.
Oh yeah.
It's not that we're putting other people's lives over somebody else, but we have resources that need to be managed, and they need to be managed wisely.
I'm glad you brought this one up though, because this is one of the comments that I think I read to Cal that he really wanted to make the show that morning, but he didn't get to because him and mornings don't get along. But you know, the way he kind of explained after I read the comment was like a different perspective from what we were all throwing out. So I kind of was really curious to hear what he wanted to say back to that comment.
Well, I mean, I got something that's kind of hits home with the whole drug addiction thing. You know, growing up, uh, I had a cousin. I mean, he was adopted into the family, but he was kind of like my big brother, and you know, he was always on the straight and narrow. You know, didn't do anything, wouldn't drink, never smoked cigarettes or anything, and you know, he joined the army before I did. He was a few years older. You know, he was airborne infantry, and you know, a lot of bad stuff. That was towards the beginning of the Iraq War, and you know, when he got out, everything just went downhill. You know, he got on all the major drugs, did nothing but drink, and he ruined his life. And he was in and out of prison several times, more than I can count. And you know, over the past several years, I get a phone call. Hey, you know, AJ had to get Narcan again and again, and I think the most recent one they had to Narcan him 4 times to wake him up, and it just makes me sick because I looked up to him, and you know, just how quickly it could destroy somebody that was always on the straight and narrow. And he does nothing but thieve and you know do drugs from the last I heard of him. And you know, it breaks my heart because you know he was always the one you go to. He would always be there to protect you, stick up for you. I always looked up to him, and I'm just waiting for a phone call to say he's gone.
Right.
And it hurts. It hurts a lot, man. I hate it. Couldn't imagine being in you guys' shoes, going and treating these people, but it just
So
sucks, man.
let me ask you this, Cal,
Yeah.
and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But knowing someone personally who has went through it, do you still believe that it's a choice, or do you believe it's a disease?
Uh, I'm kind of down the center because I mean I kind of think it's a choice because he's been in rehab facilities several times, and he always leaves early. You know, he won't It could be a short amount of time he's supposed to be there, and he will not stick it through. And it makes me believe that it's more of a choice because just try it once, and he would never give a full try.
And that's okay. That's kind of, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's kind of where I agree. So I don't agree that it's a disease by any means. I do agree it's a choice because nobody forces you to pick it up. You have to make your own personal choice of I want to try this, even
Right.
if it's to try it once. But now, do I believe that that choice can quickly consume you and take you over, and you're always going to want to be chasing that? Absolutely.
Yep.
But in that sense, as we mentioned on the first episode, circling back to it, it's no different than any other addictive substance you can get a hold of, such as nicotine or coffee or caffeine or anything like that.
Right.
I want you to know that caffeine is the most widely used legal and unregulated psychoactive drug in the world. Do you think they'd let me walk into a rehab house because I'm addicted to monsters?
I know some people that should.
I mean, the reason I say it is absolutely a choice is because my mom didn't wake up and choose cancer this morning,
Right. Which is a disease.
which is a disease.
See, I read something last night that said before you judge any addict, whether it's drugs, whether it's, an alcoholic, anything, especially with nowadays, go hide your phone somewhere, lock it away or whatever for 24 hours and don't touch it. And then come back and tell me how easy that was. But my thing is, if I make my mind up, I'm not going to be on my phone, and I set my mind to it, then I don't have to go to my phone. You know what I mean? Like, I think having the right mindset is a big part in coming off of addictions. Because if you don't have your mindset that you can do it and that you will do it, you're never going to get there anyway. It's kind of like anything in life. Like, unless you start putting action into it, it's not going to just fall in place.
I know that being addicted to drugs does change your brain composition. It changes the way the chemicals in your brain work, which can cause disease long term. But the act of using drugs in general
Is a choice, in my
is a
opinion.
choice. The side effects that come with that drug, that's the disease. But not using drugs. That's a choice that somebody makes.
Yeah.
All substances give you chemical reactions in your body that alter the way you view them or how you act. Even sugar. Sugar is technically the most widespread addictive substance on this planet. And people don't think of it that way because you use it in cooking, you use it to sweeten drinks, you use it in everything in the world. But it does cause a chemical reaction within your brain and your body to be like, oh, this is sweet, this tastes good, this makes me happy. That's why it gets used in so many things. Any kind of addictive substance has that same response to your body. It will cause a reaction to make you crave it, to make you want it again. But it's still your choice. Do you want to go back to that? Do you want to put yourself through that again? Or do you want to get rid of that craving?
No,
Just
I
because
I
you're-
agree.
Just because you're a drug addict doesn't mean that we don't care about you. There are resources for you to get help
Right.
at every turn. You can walk into any hospital in the United States and say, I'm a drug addict and I need help. I'm sure Medic will probably drop you a phone number down in the comments section somewhere that if you want to reach out to somebody because you're having addiction problems, you can call that number and get a hold of somebody. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of places you can get help. It's just if you don't want the help, you're not going to get it. What'd you say, napkins?
I said having the actual want to get help.
Right, which is back to the mindset, in my opinion.
So that was a little deep right off the gate.
Diving in, baby.
So let's. I think maybe switching gears a little bit, something not as serious. In one of the early episodes, we actually got challenged. Everything just flashed. What just happened? Anything. Anyway, we actually got challenged by Angry Vet Nation's office staff to give what if we could pick any superhero or any superpower in the world in any shape, form, or fashion, what would it be and why? Let's start with Al.
I would fly, dude.
So I
I've
don't know
had
why everybody goes
dreams,
to fly. I'm telling you.
dude. I've had the dreams where I can fly as I please. It's just so satisfying.
I want to go last on this one.
Uh, I'll re-answer this one again. I also chose flight. I just think it would be incredible to be able to go anywhere you want, anytime.
See, but why's it gotta be flight? Why can't you do like an instant transmission,
Like a teleport.
like DBZ style? Pow pow.
Because those always have drawbacks to them.
So,
This ain't Star Wars, okay?
my past answer, and I'm
Oh,
sticking with it. Invisibility.
Pervert.
No, it's mainly because like I hate crowds anyway. Like man, and there's sometimes I just want to be alone and not bothered, and you go invisible. Nobody can find you. You can just go wherever you want and chill out.
That'd be my second answer. Absolutely.
So for me, I'm gonna say the power to read minds.
You're really
because-
quiet, bro.
I don't know why. For me, it would be the power to read minds because you would never have to question who's being genuine again. You would always know what people really think about you, what's really going through their head. Maybe that's my last 8 years of trauma speaking, but that's just me.
Tired of being lied to.
I'd want the power to take away other people's superpowers.
You wouldn't be a superhero. You'd be a villain straight up. But you wouldn't be like a cool villain. You know what I mean? Like you'd be one of them douchebag villains.
I'd be like, Taco would be flying through the air, and I'd just be like,
Again, villain.
Splat.
no, I'd give it back to him.
The
No,
last second.
yeah. He's free,
No,
free
no.
falling.
No, you didn't say
You have the voice of an
anything about
angel,
the
sir.
Ability to take and give powers. You
Yeah,
said
you're
take
right.
powers.
Bye, Taco.
He's just gonna be out here unintentionally killing people.
You know, McMedic be in Walmart naked, and I'd be up in the stall in the aisle next to him, be like,
Stranger saw my pee-pee.
I like how he singled the two of us out, but not the other two.
Yeah, right? Cal's still flying. Napkin's still reading minds over there like he's getting ready to take their powers. I know he is.
I'd wait until I knew Joey would have asked. I apologize. Till Napkins was asking a really personal question, like, "Hey, so what do you think me and you are going to be in the next 10 years?" And I'm like,
No, you gotta wait on one of those moments where you're like debating, like, do I go in for a kiss? And then, bam, gone. Oh, yeah, that'd be so mean, yet so funny.
The immediate
messed up.
indecision.
Messed up.
What would be your backup one, though?
"You talking about me?
Well, yeah, you're the villain.
I'm gonna be my backup power."
Yeah.
The ability to stop time.
To stop time.
Stop time. That way, I could assault people without going to jail.
We all know who your
The villain.
first person would be.
Yup. Roll the bill.
Oh.
And big back.
You're such a pepper bag.
I'd be like Adam Sandler on Click when he pauses his boss.
Oh.
I'd be hitting people with shovels.
Carries one of them little fold-up shovels.
Got my E-tool and I'm ready to go.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Or
Napkins, you're the one reading stuff.
I got another one. Okay. I would want the ability to grant wishes.
You want to be a genie?
Yeah, but I could grant as many wishes as you wanted. But you have to be very, very specific.
So
Otherwise-
like the whole monkey's paw thing.
Yeah, like I want $100 million, and I'd be like, cool, 100 million Mexican dollars. That's like what, $1.20?
I want to be able to hear really good. All right, Dumbo, here you go.
Yeah, big old ears.
Yeah.
I want to win the lottery. Gotcha. Scratch off $5. I'd be a
Free
menace to
ticket.
society for sure.
I'm not gonna lie, man. There's sometimes I'd really like to be inside your mind.
It's a scary place from the sounds of it.
Interesting was the word I was going for.
Yeah, I can't think of too many movies that I've ever watched where I didn't immediately side with the bad guy. I was like, you know what? He's got a point. Everybody needs to go.
So watching the Avengers, Infinity War and everything, you were like, Thanos is right.
I'd have snapped 3 or 4 times. There'll be 12 of us left. And a
Knowing
couple
your
of
luck,
hoochies.
one of them would be
You and all the
Gerald
hoochies,
Deville.
huh?
Me and no.
That would be one of the last people. You'd be like, "Gummit, do it again."
I just had to snap everybody away at that point. Just be me. And my dogs.
Be like Victor off Arcane.
I don't know what's happened to my stream. My entire stream is froze, I believe.
Yeah, your screens are froze.
It's your upload speed.
Don't know.
Me neither. Who knows? Ads are starting in 5 minutes, by the way. Speaking of Arcane, Cal, so you finally finished all of it?
Yes.
So we brought that up in an episode, and I wanted to know not only the thoughts on the show, but where they could have improved. Parts of it that you didn't like, favorite parts of it, etc.
See, I never imagined they would come out with anything that awesome. It was, it was fantastic from start to finish. I think they need to continue doing stuff like that. I heard they might go, Demacia, Noxus next. I mean, from what they did in Arcane, I want to see more. I really do.
They're supposed to be continuing it.
As they should. I mean, they could make a lot of freaking money off of that.
The ending let me down so much, though.
It could have been better, but at that point, I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And most of the time, an ending, it's never as it should be. Sadly.
True.
But yeah, I was very impressed. I didn't realize it was, that long and good as it was. Because you guys were already watching it, and I hadn't even watched the first episode. I was I was very impressed with it. They need to keep going.
Having sat with it long enough now, I do wish they had at least had cameos of Twitch, Zach, Blitzcrank, and Ziggs, since they're all four
Mordekaiser.
supposed to be tied in with
Mordekaiser.
everything.
Mordekaiser.
I kind of want Mordekaiser to get his own little one-off season that just follows his start. Like, like his
He's-
origin story.
He's a villain though, ain't he?
Essentially, yeah, kinda.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, makes sense why you like him.
The news I've heard regarding all of it, though, is the next big thing they're going to do is the Noxus invasion of Ionia,
What are you doing, Schizo?
because there's so many characters from other regions that are in Ionia when it occurs. I've heard that's why they're going there. I would like to see that myself.
I would too.
Looks like my stuff's messing up now.
Y'all gonna have to get it together.
I don't know what the deal is because I did a speed test and it says everything's working for me, so I don't know what the deal is.
You joined the chat. Again.
All right.
Uh-oh.
If you guys were the rulers of the world, okay, like king, everybody had to obey you, what would be your first act of business?
I'd close the border.
You know
Build a
what?
wall!
Say no more. Nobody else needs to answer.
Oh, you didn't hear my answer.
Go ahead.
After a certain age, your driver's license goes.
Yes, sir. 65.
I'm telling you.
The truth.
Schizo believes that one day he's going to be president.
Schizo believes what?
Schizo believes he's going to be president one day, and my first executive order is after you're 65, your license goes bye-bye.
Don't
Give
you
you a
worry.
bus
Next
permit.
next voting, I'm gonna write you in, sir.
Hey, everybody vote Schizo 2029.
You want to see a change?
We'll be at war with Mexico within the week.
First things first, everybody gets superpowers.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Taco, what would you do?
I really don't know. I've never given it any thought.
Well, you can have some awkward silence to think about it because ads are starting right now, so we gotta wait just a minute.
Not the ads.
Yeah, I forgot to set up an ad screen. I'm a slacker. I was too busy editing a video that Schizo sent me with no voice to it.
Thanks to
Bro, I
Sonar.
just don't understand why you can't just leave your audio alone.
Well, I did.
You always got to be tweaking.
And then somebody was like, let me put Sonar on here for you.
Actually, I said uninstall Sonar, and you said, but I like it because it's Still Series, and everything Still Series is God's work.
I didn't say that.
I don't think ads played unless you all are seeing any.
I wouldn't see any.
Okay, so I guess you got to answer the question.
You hear how crisp this mic is, though.
It says ads are playing, so I don't have a clue.
I don't either. I have no idea. I guess I would actually focus on things that mattered, like making sure
Nerd.
people had, making sure people could afford to live and had the things they need. You know, the things politicians always promise but never follow through on.
True.
It's damn near all of them.
What was Napkins' answer?
I didn't hear the question.
I don't know, for some reason your volume keeps cutting down.
Yep.
I said I didn't hear the question.
I asked if you could be the ruler of the world, just you, in all power, dominion over human beings. What would you do? What would be the first thing you did?
Shut down our place of employment.
Whole world going to crap, and you're like, shut it down, shut it down.
Don't care about anything else. I don't care if people are starving.
Arrest all them hussies on 6 May.
That place is haunted. Shut it down.
I hope nobody ever gets on here and I ought to tell the story. I really ought to.
You know, the second you actually tell that full story will be when somebody from your place of employment is actually listening, though.
Oh yeah,
100%. 100%.
yeah. It'd be the big man himself too. Turns out he's got more than free time than we thought he did. Yeah, in between sacrificing people and whatnot and eating children.
You're such a loving person.
I can just feel the love radiating from him through his camera right now.
It's that purty mustache.
I was dang near Sam Elliott. Usually turned up a little right here, but
You should have handlebar that for this.
I don't know if it'll do it. I don't think it's long enough anymore. Oh.
Oh,
What's on the mind, brother?
I'm just happy to be here. I've been wanting to catch all these for ever since they started, but I'm just glad we got a secondary chance to do this. I can be part of it.
because
Cool,
you and
man.
Mornings hate each other.
It's more me and Sleep hate each other.
Me and evenings aren't getting along too well right now either.
You know, I don't know if it's this illness, this plague that we've all caught or what, but I haven't been able to sleep at all.
Speak for yourself.
I'm going to cough all over your monsters Friday. I just let you know. I'm going to rub my tongue all over.
I won't be there Friday.
Angry Vet Nation is happy with the show.
I have to say that after several weeks now of avoiding any illness, I'm starting to catch it now too.
It sucks.
Yeah,
It's awful. It's honestly like I got up this morning after 2.5 hours of sleep and I was like, I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired.
so far it's all chest congestion and some low-grade temps that I'm feeling, but I know that's just the start of it.
Do you need to give me shout outs before we move on to something else?
Yeah, actually, we do need to give a shout out to our wonderful sponsor, Angry Vet Nation.
Who?
Angry Vet Nation.
Who's that?
Angry Vet Nation specializes to help first responders and military veterans to get any streaming gear or set you up on any kind of podcasting, whatever you might want to do. They can give you funding. They can help you get a rig, whatever you might need. They have this wonderful IT person by the name of Chad who will, who will personally hold your hand to make sure your application goes through smoothly.
Daggone. Drop some chads in the chat. Jeez.
If you are a first responder or veteran, I repeat, you must be a first responder or veteran. Visit angryvetnation.org and apply today. It does take about 4 to 8 weeks to get your application pushed through.
Hey, Vet, I think you need to make a commercial.
Let us do it.
We'll let Schizo improv the entire thing.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Schizo's pretty good with impressions.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, buddy. He does it. He used to do his impressions on truck all the time.
Yeah.
I heard you you done one for somebody at work with napkins where where you couldn't talk right.
Oh. Oh no. That's My retarded one.
Just for schizo, here's a new emoji.
Daggone.
I can tell you. I can teach you how to speak Irish right here.
Oh God.
Who wants to do it?
I want to hear Cal do it.
No.
Come on, it's easy.
They can't even see your face. You ain't got a camera yet.
All right, you ready?
No. Let's go.
All right. Say whale,
Well.
oil,
Oil.
beef,
Beef.
hooked.
Hooked.
Now put it all together.
Well, I'll be hooked. Well, I'll be hooked.
That's why this is the After Dark show.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Cal talks so proper and to be from where he's from.
West by Gall, Virginia.
I don't know if I would have said that.
Take me home.
I want you to know that song's not about West Virginia.
Oh God, here we go.
It's about Western Virginia.
That sounds about right.
So I've actually heard this argument from people who are from West Virginia as well. That when you listen to all the actual lyrics, you learn that
The Shenandoah
It's-
Valley ain't in West Virginia.
yeah, it's describing parts that are actually in Western Virginia.
Well, see, I heard that song so much growing up, I grown to hate it. I don't want to hear it again.
Hey, Gad, you put a camera on me and we'll start losing followers.
Listen, I
I agree.
almost wore my robe for this episode. I'm not gonna lie.
I almost wore my Oogie Boogie Boggin. Yeah.
I almost showed up naked.
I was
wouldn't
kind of
be
banking on
surprised.
that.
So, Mr. Chad deleted all of our questions as we answered them. So I'm kind of limited here about pulling stuff up.
Go to YouTube. Bring up the mad one.
Good God, what is this spam crap popping up?
That would be that spam.
Hang on, I can remove it. Maybe.
World peace.
Anti-gravity. Mind uploading.
Alien disclosure.
World peace is not our first priority.
Weren't you paying attention when we explained what we were doing in the world? So
Well.
whatever the spam bot is trying to get us to go to, it sounds a lot like, what's the nutcase who believes that lizard people are running the world?
Miss Schizo.
Nancy Pelosi.
Wrong side of the aisle, but same idea.
Yeah, she's the leader of the lizard people.
She is very lizard-esque.
I bet she soaks in the sun. I bet she peels in it.
That's a
Gross.
disturbing
Demon
thought.
skin.
While Napkins is figuring that out and whatnot, there was something I brought up on yesterday's show that I wanted to bring up on this one just because, yeah, everybody's opinion, because I think something that we all kind of go through. But I mentioned, like, you ever just getting, like, one of those funks? Like, it's just like, blah. Like, you don't want to do anything, even stuff that, like, usually you enjoy the most, and then you're just like, ugh. Like, how do you deal with them?
So I actually did finally get to go back and listen to the full episode eventually. And I heard that part, and I thought you might bring it up again. For me, at first, I kind of wallow in it. That's when I end up binge watching something on TV for like a couple hours. And then I just force myself to ignore that feeling and start moving on and doing the things that need to be done anyway.
Way to
And
go,
usually by,
moderator.
yeah, usually by forcing myself to do things, it kind of kicks my body and mind into gear. And it's like, okay, we can't just be blah. We've got to be active. We've got to do productive things. And I kind of get out of that slump pretty quickly that way.
Next.
I have a little bit of trouble with it.
Good answer.
I mean, it's something that haunted me for years. You know, it was about 9 years. It damn near crippled me, and I thought I got past it, and it hit me recently, and I think getting snowed in, and it just it reappeared.
Adds to it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest, but it's shitty. I don't. You guys are my only friends. You guys are the only ones I talk to, besides my family and all that. But you guys, y'all dug me out the hole many times in the past.
Yeah, let's get those guys a shovel.
Ito. But
I'm swinging, baby.
no, I can't appreciate you guys enough, man.
Like, my biggest thing is, like, I have to try and focus. Like, if I don't, even if it's, like, usually trying to, like, edit and record and stuff, it's kind of what helps me pull myself out of it. And, like, if I can't get my mind to focus on something, that's when I start struggling hardcore. Because if you can't focus or anything, then you're going to end up just start spiraling, and that's what we don't want.
I tend to just wallow in it till it does cripple me mentally. But I know
That's
I
not
say
the
a lot.
healthy way, though.
I know I say a lot of crazy stuff, and I have this insane sense of humor that most people probably look down on. But I'm a Christian, and when it gets to that point, it's just mentally exhausting. That's more or less when my faith takes over, pulls me through. I mean,
A lot of people don't really get, like, you'd be surprised. I think, like, dark humor helps more than what people know. Like, I don't know if it was just, from being in EMS or whatever, but, like, my humor, a lot of people just probably can't understand it unless they share it. Like all these people.
hey lads, y'all know who the fastest readers in history are?
I have a feeling you're going to tell us.
I'm not, because I'm afraid you might get banned.
Yeah, it was hydrate time.
Yeah, I got my water sitting outside in the cold, and it's just got the perfect amount
Of ice.
ice in it. It's nice.
Better watch that. It'll freeze on you and
Sports
bust.
pop weather.
Really?
Water freezes? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Is
no.
that what's falling from the sky? I know.
They're actually giving us to get more, so hopefully everybody keeps power and whatnot.
I think where it's bundled up so tight, and the carrying case has kept it from freezing so far. So, if I notice it gets too hard, then I'll bring it inside.
That's what she said.
Yeah, yeah.
You knew that was coming.
So, something that we kind of touched on a little bit Monday, but I'm gonna bring it back up now here for everybody. What's ever
What's ever?
Don? What's everybody think about as far as I'll just how do I explain this? Okay, so like for me, for example, my passion is dispatch. That's the one thing. 911 dispatch is the one passion that I can honestly say that I had. That I felt like I wasn't going to a job every day. I was genuinely happy. I loved what I was doing. What's everybody think as far as giving up a job to go back to a career that you're passionate about, even if it means that you're not making as much money or don't have as much free time?
I mean, I get the appeal of it for sure. If there's a way that you can actually make an income at it, I wholeheartedly endorse people doing that kind of thing. That's kind of the goal with all of this is eventually I can turn this into my quote unquote job, not just because of my back, but because I enjoy it. I enjoy interacting with people and I enjoy playing games. It makes sense to want to combine those. I understand the fear of, well, I can't make as much money at that, or it takes more time away from X, Y, and Z for me to work that job instead of what I have now. But at the same time, if you aren't happy with what you're doing, what's the point of it? Like,
Truth.
I've had multiple people tell me, well, why don't you go apply at the hospital and work on their ambulance? They don't do as much and it's easier on you, plus all the good benefits.
Gotta wipe people's butt.
I wouldn't want to do that though. I don't like
Me neither.
the way the place I don't like the way the place runs things. I don't like the way they do their hours and the fact that yeah, they give you better benefits, but they also handicap you in that oh, you can only use those benefits at these places that we tell you and nothing else. So why would I go be more miserable at a different place when I'm not entirely miserable where I am?
My thing is, you get one life, and you might as well be happy with it. And if you're absolutely miserable at what you're doing, change it. I don't care if what makes you happy is dressing up and being a party clown, then go get your big red nose and start booking parties. I mean, you get one life, enjoy it.
Are you confessing a secret desire to be a party clown to us right now?
Yes. Honk honk.
I expect to see that from now on.
I gotta get a red nose now.
Cal, what's your insight?
Well, I really miss working with my dad doing construction, but I recently got, full disability, and I know I can't go do that anymore. It wasn't too long ago, but during the summer, I did a lot of time, volunteering and, helping people, around the community with stuff that they just needed help with. And I like helping people. And, I think I'm going to try to find more things to do like that. As much as I want to help my dad, because I know he gets screwed at work. I just want to, volunteer more time, help people out. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Schizo.
First off, I don't want there to be any confusion. I hate my job.
That was
But I
pretty
do
clear. That was well done.
I love EMS. I consider it a passion, but not my passion, not the passion.
Right.
You know, uh, I feel like I kind of felt like maybe when I started EMS, I at the time I guess it was just a job. As time went on, it became a passion because when I got off the ambulance, now granted I left EMS for a while because my own brain was just in shambles from depression and the workload. But now that I'm gone, I want to go back, so I'm going back. And but I really think my passion is art. I you know I'm an
Next
artist.
Bob Ross, huh?
No, I'm just kidding. I can't paint at all. Uh, no, I think one thing that I am very passionate about is my faith, and something that I've wanted to do for a very long time is to get into ministry. Uh, I go to church on Wednesdays and Sundays. They can all attest to that. I do read. I've slacked this week on reading, slacked a lot, but I think for a very long time, I've thought that I wanted to get into ministry somehow. So that's my ultimate goal. That's my ultimate passion is to strive towards is becoming a minister. To, mostly help with youth groups because I remember when I was in youth group and how much fun I had, and I want to give other people that same experience. So ultimately, that's what I'm working towards is, working more with my church, working more closely with it.
Don't get me wrong, like being a paramedic was the first job that I worked that I felt like this is what I was made to do. And especially since I've been sidelined from the incident that I was in and stuff, and where that's still kind of in the air on if and when all that may come back, may not. It opened the door to be able to start the streaming and the podcast and making the content on YouTube and everything. And that's a passion that kind of like Taco had mentioned. I mean, it's a passion that I've really fell in love with. Getting on here with you goofballs and acting like idiots and going back and editing these videos, listening to me and Schizo run around trying to kill zombies and stuff like that puts us.
I didn't have any audio.
That puts it puts a smile on my face. And if don't get me wrong, I agree with what Schizo was saying. My faith is extremely important to me, and I'll follow God in any way He leads me and wants me to do anything. But as far as like a job wise, especially where I'm sidelined, like trying to build this community that we started as Slim Chance Gaming has become like one of my biggest passions.
So, not to sound like I'm attacking what you were saying at all there, Schizo, I understand some people do feel led to take a career in different types of ministry and stuff, but for me personally, I've never felt like that was something that set right with me. And I could get into it more and explain why I feel that way and stuff. But it just always, to me, it felt more like people were trying to cash in on their faith when they do that.
Right.
So I'm kind of curious on how it sits with you. Like, how do you feel about that kind of thing?
Well, I do believe a pastor should be paid. Like take my church for example. We have an interim pastor right now. He's not our official pastor because we're looking for a new one. But I think as a pastor of a church, like the head pastor, I believe that they should be paid because I don't know how y'all's church works in terms of this.
Yeah, our pastor gets paid.
Our church pastor is on call 24 hours a day. No matter what time a clergy member calls him, he is supposed to answer that phone. Granted, I go to a large church, but I feel like that's a lot of responsibility. As a pastor, it is exactly what it's named. You're a pastor of people. Your job is to lead, and leaders need things.
So, due
But
to the fact that I've interacted with so many different churches, I'll give you that anyone that is their full-time role, like they don't have another job or anything, I 100% agree they should be paid to be the head pastor of a church, because not only are they on call, but they're the ones who are handling all the behind-the-scenes stuff, making sure bills are paid, making sure any maintenance gets done, making sure that you check on people who have been really sick and in the hospital and things like that. So I agree with that part. The thing that I've always gotten hung up on are places that pay like specific people to come and preach so many
right.
services a month, or pay people just to come and play music and that's all they do, or things like that. That's where I've always had the biggest hang up with
See, if
all
I
of
were
that.
to get into preaching and in a pastoral role with like a youth group, I wouldn't expect to be paid, because just because it's something your passion doesn't mean your passion always comes with monetary gain.
Right.
You know, and I'm well aware of that. I'd
I
still
think the
probably
biggest
work a
thing with
regular
it
job.
is like when it comes to anything dealing with like inside of a church, like any type of pastor or any type of ministry and things. I feel like God calls people into that, and I think what kills it for a lot of people are there are people that just take advantage and they do things only for their gain, and that's where they lose everything.
I agree.
We got a question. What brought you guys together as a group?
So
EMS.
Napkins, Medic, and I are all actually brothers, like blood brothers. Uh, so we've
Blood in,
actually
blood
always
out,
been
baby.
really close together growing up and everything. We all got into a lot of the same games. That's why we started playing them together. And one night, good lord, what's it going on? 13, 14 years ago now?
It was a long
We
time.
met a Trendomir.
Yeah, we used to play nothing but the Rift on League of Legends. Occasionally, the old Twisted Tree Line when they had 3v3s, but they
Literally
didn't have
called
a
Cal Trend for like 2 years.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember.
That's all he played with us. He would play Tryndamere every single match in top lane. We just happened to randomly get with him in a match one night, and we had a ton of fun with him. We were having to top chat everything back then, but we were having a blast with him. Afterward, he was like, "Y'all want to roll another one?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll go for another one." And it just kind of snowballed from there.
At the time, I think that was when Napkins was running his Nerd Tech business, and
Yep.
Cal
That's
let
true.
us know about the old gal he had whenever he was in the service, that Alienware.
Oh yeah.
Napkins worked it out to get it sent, and he was working on trying to get it worked on and fixed for him and brought back to life. And
I put so many band-aids on that. You might as well call me.
I
Never mind.
couldn't imagine, man.
Felt
and
like
then
I was working at my employer now that I was back then, handing out so many band-aids.
I tell you
And,
what though, if I fed that game, I would have never met you guys. I did decent top lane, so
I had been
We,
working EMS for quite a while.
5 or 6 years by the time you met Schizo.
All these new people kept coming through, a bunch of losers. And one day, it's Schizo come through, and he was such a loser. Immediately, he comes in, like you got all these new people, and they want to show initiative and stuff, and we're like, well, come help wash trucks. And he sits there at the table, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna like this guy. Lo and behold, a few years later, I had my paramedic, and I needed a partner, and And me and Schizo had, we had talked at work a few times and started hanging out and stuff. And I was like, I want you to be my driver, man. We got on truck together and best bros ever since. Lemon and tangerine, baby.
That's badass.
And he started hanging out with the family and started getting on, and he got introduced to Cal, everything, and we were one night we was just like, let's make this a thing, let's make this a group. Thus, Slim Chance Gaming was born.
Now, I will,
wait,
I will tell
wait.
this quick story too. I've defended Schizo at work so many times that some people think that maybe there's more than friendship there.
Listen, I made my fair share of enemies in EMS. Okay,
At multiple stations.
at multiple stations.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I was beside him a lot of those times.
when it comes to doing stuff for other people in the station, I'm like, nah, I'm good. But when it comes to being on a truck, I will bust my butt. I will work until I fall over. But I got an issue with somebody else looking at me and say, "Hey, you do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, no,
You don't even listen to your boss when he tells you that.
no, 100% didn't."
Well, to be fair, I mean, the boss don't ride on truck with you. I mean, like I told
That's true.
Schizo before when we first started running together, like, it doesn't matter how good of a paramedic somebody is or anything. It's how good you guys work together as partners on a truck. That's what makes it. You help take care of people what they need to get done, and we clicked.
Oh yeah, like
My
I
thing-
completely get it. Like
my
the
thing,
medic I work with.
With McMedic is, like I said, I'll bust my butt on an ambulance trying to help. Yeah, I get winded, but I still try my best, do my best. But McMedic knew me well enough and knew that I knew my stuff well enough that if I felt like, hey, we should do something, he was like, yeah, I agree, let's do it. That was very far and few between sometimes, but he trusted my judgment just as much as I trusted his.
Yeah, like the medic I prefer to work with the most. He and I, we click. We understand how to work together on a truck appropriately, no matter what kind of call we've got. Certain calls I know before we even start to load the patient. All right, I'm gonna have to hop in the back and start doing things to help him out because this patient's so bad, and he doesn't have to say a word. I'm doing everything he wants me to get done before he's saying anything. There are others I've had to work with in the past, however, that when I've dealt with them, I'm like, no, you don't have a clue what you're doing. You want me to do your job for you because you don't know what you're doing.
My wife
And
says first
that's
time
an
I
issue.
met Schizo, he was rolling into the ER on a woman's chest.
Yep.
Schizo.
My first ever CPR. We were 7 minutes away from the hospital. And I tell you what, if you ever done CPR, you already know.
Oh yeah.
CPR ain't no joke.
Listen, you
And-
get done, you look like you went swimming.
If
Yeah.
you're doing proper CPR, yeah, it
I did
wears
it
you
for-
out.
7 minutes. And
You
well,
you
I
were
don't
pretty
think I
new
met
then
Chaz
too.
at that time. Yeah, I was about 6 months in. It was about 6 months before I did my. Well, yeah, that's new.
Yeah, for a lot of them, that is new.
But I don't think I had met Chas at that point.
Yeah, I don't think you had.
But
You were still running BLS truck.
yeah, she swung open the back door, and I'm pretty sure I had that blue button up off. It was just me in my white shirt, and I was just pouring the sweat doing the compressions.
Got a question for Cal. Cal, what specifically do you miss about the service?
I miss my best friends, and
Where we chop liver?
no, this was a different type of friend, battle buddies. Like just like Schizo said, the boss doesn't mean shit when you're out there doing some fucking crazy stuff. Deployed. They're not there.
Right.
You guys got your backs. I miss them guys so much. I'm only in contact with two of them at this point, and I hate that because we were
How many was in your squad or whatever?
we had 4 platoons, lightning troop. Um, we got a fifth platoon after we deployed, and I was attached to them for a little while. I miss them guys so much.
Can you tell me a story about one of your buddies almost took your head off with the tank?
Yes.
That's a best friend and a half right there.
Yeah, rest his soul. His name was Gormley. We always called him Guam. Just a
Guam?
nickname. Yeah. Uh,
Random question: does everybody get a nickname?
yes.
Okay, I was always wondered that.
Yeah, mom was Ringo. But yeah, the main thing I miss. I miss them. I miss them guys so much. And just talking with the two that I talk to still, it's not enough.
I have to tell you, Cal, I've met plenty of veterans and everything. I even work with one. He's a veteran and everything. But in my experience, talking with them, they fall into one of two camps. Either they absolutely miss the people they worked with, or they absolutely hated them and want nothing to do with any of them anymore.
I mean, that is true. I also have a group that I wish harm upon, but we're not going to go there. But yeah, both are true. You meet some real brothers, and you immediately become blood.
Yeah, the one I work with, to this day, he will even tell our coworkers and everything that outside of his wife, the only person there that he considers anything close to being like a true friend or a family member is me. And they're always like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, I don't get it. He and I just click, we get along. He won't talk about any of the people that he was close with in the military. He doesn't want to. He says they don't matter to him. And he does not care for anybody else we work with. He's told multiple ones if they were to start dying in the night, he wouldn't do a thing to help them unless he was forced to.
Sounds
Yeah,
like schizo.
That's a real EMT right there.
No,
When I first got into EMS, the first county that I was working in, the shift I got put on, there was a veteran that worked on it, and they were introducing me to everybody on that shift, and they were like, he was in the Army, blah blah, and I told him, thank you for your service. I have a lot of admiration for people that go into the military. It doesn't matter to me what branch. I mean, to me, my thing is, not only are you putting your life on the line for people you don't even know and for this country, but then you also have, the aspect of you're leaving your family to go do this. And I couldn't imagine myself doing that. And he told me, don't, it's all a big load of crap, and walked away. And I was like, okay, I don't know why you come back, but okay. Napkins, I recovered some of your questions, Chad.
About time, Chad.
Yeah, come on, Chad. Where you been? I'm gonna drop a Chad, and it's not even the cool one. Ads in 3.5 minutes, by the way. I've got 2 more snoozes left on them if I need to use them.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I do want to say that the majority of the new EMTs, besides the original ones that were there at the station when I started, the majority of the new ones have passed their national registry because I would sit down and study with them.
That's true. We were like the favorite crew, man. We really were. Everybody loved us.
All the new ones.
I mean,
To be honest with you, we just kind of told them how it was. You know what I mean? And I was like, listen, there's a lot of people, especially when it comes to EMS, they'll try and walk over you and this and that. Don't let them. Give mouth back till you put your foot down. They'll continue to do it.
The one rule that my medic always has for any new ones that are doing ride time is just be honest with me. You don't know how to do something? Tell me that.
Right.
Don't tell me you know how to do it, or don't try and lie to me about doing it when I'm sitting here watching you.
Right.
Because I'll call you out, and I'll call you out in front of everybody.
Right. And to be fair, I mean, we tell them, like, you know, if you want to learn, we'll help you learn. You don't want to learn, I'm not going to sit here and waste my time. So,
I would stay over past time for me to go home, where our students were in the station, and go over test questions and sit with them for 5 or 6 hours afterward. I mean,
Schizo does have a heart.
I do. I like to teach people, you know, but the second a supervisor and says, you need to go do this, I'm like, you can go straight back to the vodka bottle you crawled out from.
Have you ever considered going into the teaching side of EMS?
No,
Well, I mean, you just said you can do that.
I can, but I don't want to say I have a bias.
Well, my thing is, like, I've considered it, but the
Like,
whole
if I-
point of, like, the teaching aspect on the side of it, of having the class and everything, all you're doing is teaching them how to pass the test. That is all it is built around. Teach them to pass the test, and then you don't care about them. My whole thing about EMS is you learn everything on that truck.
Like, if somebody had come into my class and acted like Cruella DeVille does at her first job, the company that I was working for at the time would not adhere to me saying, put your big boy pants on and do this, or get out.
Right.
You know?
Or, big boy panties in his case.
So
20 seconds and it says ads will run.
I have to kind of agree. The reason I've not decided to try and do something like that is the person that is over our education with our company. He's not nearly as intelligent as he thinks he is, and when he's proven to not be nearly as intelligent as he thinks he is, he throws a temper tantrum and tries to create more problems than it's worth.
Yeah, I think the only way I could go into it, the teaching side of it, is you let me have free reign to teach them how to do the job, and don't belittle me on it. Don't try and change what I'm trying to teach them. Then I would try it.
Like, if you could let me have them for an extra month after they got nationally certified to teach them how to do the job for real and not by the textbook.
You know how I think they should
could
do
probably
it?
do that.
Instead of like ride time of throwing them on a truck with crews that are already there, I think the teacher and the student should have to get on a truck with a driver, and that's the crew for that shift, even if it's 12-hour shift.
Yeah, do a 12-hour shift, like one crew a day.
It says ads are
Where-
running. I don't know if they are.
They are.
Okay, well, wait a minute.
Let us know when they finish there.
It says 1 minute and 45 seconds. So in this awkward silence for everybody that's not seen them, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel.
Haha.
My wife even figured out how to subscribe with Prime.
Yes, if you have Amazon Prime, you do get one free subscription a month that you can use toward a Twitch streamer. Why not use that toward McMedic's channel right now?
They can't hear you. Are you still talking with Chad Napkins?
Yeah, I was. He deleted a question that we didn't even get to answer, and it's perfect for so.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Now I gotta know it. It's
What
probably
about
like,
Chad?
why do you go after married hoochies?
I don't. Not anymore. That's the old schizo.
Not anymore. I break them up, then I go after them. What up, Courtney? Says 30 seconds, and then they'll be up.
It's playing the last one right now. It just now hit 27 seconds.
Awkward silences.
Silences that are awkward. For anybody listening on the podcasting platforms, we apologize. This is a brief ad break.
And we're back.
And we're back.
But anyway, like I was saying, I think it should just be the teacher and that student, and you should work a rotation out with the students to be able to be there. Because a big problem with EMS is you throw them on a truck with people that don't want them there, or that don't care to help teach them, or they teach them wrong. My first ride time, I was asking about vitals, and I was told, let me show you how to do this. We make it up.
No, that's what I was saying too. Is a matter of fact, anymore these newer classes, they're making them go through EVOC before they can even get out in the field and stuff. So why not take two of those students, put them on a truck with the instructor, and have the students rotate runs and work a 12 or a 24-hour shift and do like 4 or 3 of those a week, depending on if you're doing 12 or 24, and go through your class that way.
Another issue with it is EMS is so short-handed. A lot of the new people get thrown straight into driving ALS trucks, so then they don't ever work the back, and they think they're entitled. To be honest with you, and I can't stand that.
Yeah, we've got a lot of them at my station that they got out of their class, got put straight on the road driving a paramedic, and now they think, well, that's all I'm ever going to do. I don't have to know how to do the back. It's not my job.
Right.
And if they're told they have to work a BLS truck for some reason, they get mad and they leave. They won't work their shift.
Yeah, I got a toothache. Gotta go home.
All right. So this question comes from Adam, who listens on Apple Podcast. Unfortunately, this was a recovered question, Chad, so I can't call out when
Chad.
it was submitted. He listens from PA, and it says, how do you handle a coworker or colleague that you just genuinely, no matter how hard you try, cannot get along with?
Yeah, Schizo.
We'll let you start.
Well, first, you gotta do some psychological warfare. What I want you to do is I want you to find out where he lives. Okay? And then you go in at 4 a.m. because statistically speaking, 4 a.m. is the time that people are less likely to defend themselves. Once you get in his house,
You're just stealing the whole bit from that Ted Laszlo.
Why don't you shut up and let me do it, okay? And then what you do is you rearrange his furniture a little bit. Okay? Replace his dog with a slightly different dog. You know, just so his brain starts to eat itself from the inside out. And he thinks he's going crazy, and then he'll eventually just.
You buy him a cat and you let him fall in love with that cat. You break into his house in the middle of the night and you punch him in the face.
No, but seriously, the way to deal with coworkers you don't like is just, man, just go about your business. Honestly, I mean that's.
So now you're doing the whole practice what I teach, not what I do thing.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are times, especially in my job now, that I do a little bit much as far as trying to get back at people.
Some people don't work there no more.
And the reality is I hate being like that. I really do. I don't want to be like that. But that's part of the human condition. That's how we are in the end.
That's how you are.
Well, I mean, humans in general are vengeful people. But I am called to be better than that. And most of the time I try to be better than that. Sometimes my nature takes over and I want to do the worst thing possible. But I had a lot of issues with people at EMS. You know, well, not a lot, a couple of people, and trying to get back at them, I'm telling you, will backfire on you every time.
And now you're going to work with them.
They will eventually weed themselves out.
Yeah.
Because they will make so many enemies. Because once people start to realize the person that they are, either the company itself or their coworkers will push them out.
Yeah,
That
I
doesn't
agree.
mean-
Like you
that doesn't
avoid it.
mean run that person back PMC either, Schizo.
I think I agree. You know, you worry about you focus on you avoid them, and if it's one of the jobs like it's just impossible to avoid them, you have to show some restraint, and especially if they're above you or and whatnot. But unless there's straight up justification for like how they treat you and things that you have to say back or how you have to act back. You focus on your job and you do your job the best you can.
In
Everywhere
regards
you
to-
work, there's going to be people you can't get along with.
In regards to the comment that Joey just made, there is a person that I work with right now, and this boy, because he's far from a man, this boy has had it out for me since I first started there, and I have never done anything to him. He started it, but I'm hoping that
You going to finish it?
yeah, I mean, because I caught him in a bold-faced lie to try and get us in trouble. A bold-faced lie he told the nurses to try to get us in trouble. And when I confronted him about it, he said, "It is what it is." I was like, it's gonna be. It is what it is. But sometimes you can't avoid it. You know, sometimes that problem is going to bubble up, and you're going to have to confront it. But as much as he doesn't like me and I don't like him, I want you to know that no matter the dislike between us, I still walked in there on Christmas Eve and handed him a $100 wine voucher and told him Merry Christmas. No matter how much I didn't like him.
Why would you spend that much on somebody you don't like?
I didn't.
Called regifting, baby.
No. I had. Have you ever used thrift books online?
No.
It's just a website where you can find books that you're looking for a lower price than buying them new. And what they do is they send, for every book you buy, they send you a $100 wine voucher gift with it. And I don't drink.
For every book you buy?
For every book you buy.
That I don't see how that can be like profitable for them. That sounds
maybe-
like they're throwing
maybe
more
it's-
money at.
Maybe it only sends if you spend a certain amount of money. But I had received 2 of those wine vouchers, and I was like, you know what? Some people at my work might like these. So I took them into work, and I gave one to one coworker. I said Merry Christmas, and I gave the other one to him. I said Merry Christmas. And the very
Trying
next
to kill him with kindness, huh?
the very next shift that I worked with him, he bold-faced lied to try to get me in trouble.
I want to change the order a little bit up and go to Cal now. What's your input on this question?
Coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, working with my dad, it was always me and him. We were a 2-man crew, and it was construction, installing framing and glass, storefronts, and all that. A lot of people didn't like when there'd be a new guy hired, including my dad, but if there was something I knew, I tried to help him out because, it'd be less work that I'd have to do, in the future. Just
Right.
try to teach them what I know. Even though I didn't know a lot at the time, I just, I taught everything I could. And even, going back to the Army, we'd get a new guy. I was never mean unless they deserved it. Like they would they would have to do some stupid shit for me to for them to get on my bad side. I'm never an angry person. I always try to help. You got to really mess up for me to
So I'm
kind of
curious
kind of say fuck you.
if there was somebody in the service that you didn't get along with, how'd you handle it?
Stayed the fuck away from them. Let them get screwed over. We had several of those,
Right.
and I mean I was always nice, but it's like, hey, I'm gonna do my thing here. You go do your thing over there. I I was never, specifically mean because that's not in me, but I always try to help, but you really gotta not know what the hell you're doing, or you have no place being there for me to for me to for you to be on my bad side.
Word.
I mean, I always took anybody under my wing if I could.
You know, I just say that it's human nature to want to get back at people, but like Taco said, kill them with kindness, man. Okay,
Yeah.
even if they hate you and despise you and do everything they can to make your work harder, then let it, just go with it. You know,
Absolutely.
I talk about my faith a lot, and one of those things that I struggle with sometimes is vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You know, it. I mean, evil people, bad people, eventually they get theirs. But you don't want to be you don't want to be on the receiving end of that either because you weren't too good yourself.
My take on it is kind of the same. I mean, just if you've literally tried every way, and sometimes it even takes sometimes it even takes just being like, dude, like, what's the deal? You know,
Yeah,
and even if
sometimes you just gotta call them out.
yeah, like, why are you being a dick? I
Right.
mean, and if that still don't work, then just stay away from them. You do your thing, let them do theirs. Eventually, it's going to come back to bite them. Eventually, somebody's going to notice, and it's going to come to a head.
And eventually they do it to the wrong person.
People will eventually say, "Hey, maybe that other guy isn't the problem. Maybe you are."
Right.
You know?
That actually just happened recently at our place of employment.
Yeah. Go
One
ahead.
of one of the
Tell the story.
coworkers who one of the coworkers who is very bold and just doesn't sugarcoat anything, and she'll tell you directly what's on her mind. She experienced working with both schizo and the problem coworker the same night, and she even said out of her own mouth, said, maybe schizo's not the problem. Maybe it's him, because I don't see what he's claiming.
Right.
Like I'm not a mean person. I'm really not. I'm very friendly and I like to make people laugh. That's my God-given talent right there is making people laugh.
Schizo's got a big heart. He just tries to hide it.
I do. I like to help people. I like to make people laugh and I like to be friends with people. So,
Taco, your answer?
Yeah, basically, I'm polite to them, but I don't go out of my way to make them think that, we're friends or that we get along or anything like that. I'll be polite to them, but I'm not like overtly aggressive toward them. I try to avoid them if I can, and I make sure that my supervisors are aware. Like, hey, I don't get along with this person. I've got issues with them. That way, I can avoid having to be put on a truck with them.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the killing them with kindness is what it boils down to. Let them weed themselves out. Happens in EMS all the time. The problem usually takes care of itself.
and that's not just because they're the people that are around in EMS. The job itself will weed
Yeah,
bad ones out.
yeah, and eventually when they figure out that they can't continue being the way they are there, they'll move on somewhere else so that they feel like they can do it somewhere else.
Yeah. But
Uh,
EMS in general will weed you out eventually.
yeah, yeah. I, I'm a firm believer, and it's probably like anything else. Like, you know, for example, military and stuff, it's not made for everybody, and if you ain't cut out for it, you'll get weeded out.
It'll chew you up and spit you out.
Right. Before we move on, I want to give another shout out to our amazing sponsor, Angry Vet Nation.
Nation.
I like the echo. We should put that in the commercial. Who is Angry Vet Nation? They are an amazing group of people that, if you are a first responder or a veteran, reach out to them. They are there to not only give advice, but to help you with rigs and setups and equipment, and in any way that they can help. They're also in the works of doing even more amazing things of trying to set up for, you know, any first responders or veterans that may need any type of therapy and counseling, that will be at their disposal whenever they need it, which speaks volumes for the kind of people that they are. They bend over backwards. It's an amazing group of people. We're beyond blessed that they're sponsoring this podcast, and I couldn't thank them enough. You can reach them at angryvetnation.org, and you can apply there. It is 6 to 8 weeks on the application. So a huge shout out to them. Much respect.
Damn right.
That's the first time you've done that in a long time, ain't it?
Yeah, buddy. No, I do it all the time, man. We're trendsetters.
Listen, there wasn't nothing that me and McMedic started doing at the station that everybody in the station didn't start copying.
That's true.
Like this little number right here, yeah, that still goes on.
Backlog is already starting again. Ooh. Hey, that's a good sign, though. That's a good sign. Cheers to that.
I don't know how many people have watched on Netflix the movie Bullet Train, but that's where our nicknames Lemon and Tangerine came from.
Yeah, we got called that forever.
Me and him had watched it at station 2. We had some downtime. We watched the movie, and he walked back in the day room and he said, "What are you doing, Lemon?"
What you doing, Lemon?
And then it was on from then on, Lemon and Tangerine. And everybody in the station started calling us Lemon and Tangerine. In fact, everybody in the station started giving each other fruit nicknames.
Yeah.
So we had like peach and grapefruit walking around.
Daggone great.
Even our Snapchat group chat, I renamed napkins lime in it. And you all were supposed to decide on a citrus fruit to name me.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Grapefruit.
Yeah, it was grapefruit. You didn't like it. Not a lot of people like grapefruits.
Yeah, nobody likes grapefruit.
It's an acquired taste, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that's
what you
actually
got to do
fitting then.
is you got to put it on that one thing and squeeze it. Get the juice out. So
No one likes lemons.
everybody likes lemons. Lemon meringue pie, lemon drop. We're talking about lemons here.
So, before Napkins looks up another question, if he's got one from the past. Anybody got anything on their mind that they would like to discuss? Don't jump at once now.
No, not really.
I mean, I could go back to that last topic of coworkers and how you treat them and everything. When I started working at the coal mine, you know, I knew nothing about it. Just took the classes. You know, you learn the basics and everything. But actually getting down there was only a couple guys that would, you know, teach you, and they weren't complete assholes. You would end up working with people that they called you the nastiest names, even though you just started working there. You know, you're underground. You're trying to adapt to a new situation. It's another world.
Yeah, I've heard it could be pretty rough trying to get started in there with just the people that you're working with alone.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. It didn't make sense to me because it was kind of like, you know, being in the military. You know, you're underground. It's a dangerous situation. everybody has to, work together. And there were some that were just the nastiest people
Still
you could
stuck
ever
in high
imagine.
school, huh?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had a great time underground with a lot of the people that been there for a while, but there were some that were just the nastiest people in the world, and it just didn't make sense to me
Right.
because that's like a brotherhood as well. You know, you got to have each other's backs, and they didn't. They just
I mean, you would think EMS would be that way too, but it's not. You got a lot of cutthroat people. Some people just suck. You're
exactly.
right, wife.
The one thing I noticed about EMS, uh, if you go on a call and it's a bad call, like where not just the patient's in danger, but you are genuinely in danger,
Yeah.
there is backup coming. I promise you, because no matter how much somebody might dislike you at the station, when they hear that distress come over the radio, like, "Hey, I'm in a bad spot and I need help quick," you can just about guarantee that they're loading up on and they're on their way.
So I will share a little story that kind of reminded me of whenever before it was actually my last shift before I went to the 911 center. Whenever I worked for the same company you guys do, I was working dispatch. And it was actually almost at shift change, like 5 minutes till I was getting ready to log off the computer, and it was a he was an EMT. Now he's a paramedic, but he come across the radio, and all I heard out of his mouth was, "Dispatch, we need police. They've pulled a knife on us," and I couldn't get back a hold of him, and so I had 3 or 4 different agencies responding. I had uh, I had already got a hold of the supervisor, and like even people at the station had heard it and was like, "Where they were calling dispatch and saying where are they at?" Like even other paramedics and EMTs,
Yeah.
and that kind of speaks volumes because he was not a very well liked coworker, but whenever it came down to it, everybody was willing to go to him.
I'm pretty sure I know which one you were talking about, and that was me on that radio.
As far as that called for help,
I think so.
no, no, but it was one that you used to run with.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
There's been a couple calls that come across like that. I mean, that is one thing about EMS. There's a lot of love hate there, but when it comes down to it, especially, I mean, it was on the news a few years ago. There was a shooting that happened, and EMS come to me and Taco drove
We were in
from Ashland, and we made it back in like 40 minutes. And the whole reason we wasn't even supposed to be working. The whole thing was that was going on, and we wanted to be there to do what we could to help anybody that we could.
I that same paramedic. Now that I know who he's talking about, I won't mention his name, but I worked with that paramedic, and I think I was about 3 years into the job when this one happened. But got a call for a altered mental status, possible stroke. Well, we got on scene, and there's a middle-aged man. He's walking down the road, and he's kind of flailing his arms about, and he's in this Black Sabbath T-shirt with some pajama pants on. And I looked at my partner. I said, "This is not a stroke call. This is a psych call." So we get out, and we're talking to this guy, and he says that his wife is putting stuff in his food, trying to poison him. Well, we get him convinced to go to the back of the ambulance. Well, we think we did. And his mom walks down the steps, and she says, "Just go with them. I'll pick you up, and I'll bring you home." Well, he gives her a hug, gives her a kiss, and we walk up on the porch. It's not uncommon for a patient in EMS who calls EMS to bring a bag with them. Okay. So he goes over to his bag, and I think, oh, he's just grabbing a bag like every other patient. Nope. He pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the head. And I remember I'll tell you what, I remember that paramedic pulling out his radio and saying, "Shots fired, shots fired." And, well, His dad is a police officer, and his dad was the first one on scene that day. But I tell you what, my boss and another crew were not far behind. So, one of the worst days of my life, hands down. It's the only call that I've ever been on that I genuinely have flashbacks of that caused me to turn white as a ghost and stop breathing. But there were people coming. There were people on their way.
I think because I have a lot of like your mind can be a really scary place, and like I mean, there's some nights, man, I can't sleep, you know, and I don't know if it was like PTSD setting in type deal, but it wasn't even like just calls that I've worked in the past. Like, man, like I close my eyes and it's calls that I never went on, and it's patients I never worked on. But like, I mean, some of them, man, they really mess with you. I mean, and that's one thing, like especially with what our sponsors trying to do, like always having something set up that you can go to for help and things. I mean, I think that it's can be something, especially for like veterans and first responders and stuff. Like it's more needed than what people think.
I agree with that.
Your wife put a comment in the chat, by the way, medic.
Yeah, having a heart attack because he was rushing to an active shooter situation in order to save someone or save anyone he could. It was hard to wrap my head around that at the time.
Oh, you'll be all right.
That's one thing, man. Like unless you work like that line, like not just EMS but first responders and stuff, it's hard for people to wrap their mind around of how that trumps and becomes a priority of something you want to get to try and be there to do what you can.
Oh yeah, our dad was trying to get them to discharge him from the hospital right after having had heart cath, wasn't it, or was it actually
heart cath and stents?
Yeah, right after having that done, because he knew what was going on and some of the people there. And even though he had just been told, no, you have to stay here at least tonight, he was like, no, let me go. There's something going on I have to get to. And our mom was furious with him over it. We're like, no, we've got this. We're on our way. We'll let you know what's going on once we figure it out.
I think it also goes to show like why people in the first responder and stuff line of work, why they are the way they are. There's a lot of stuff you never know what's going to happen, and you're the first ones there when it happens.
Oh yeah, like this has been 3 years ago now, I think. I was working around the 4th of July, and one of our paramedics came out of the base into our large bay where we keep the ambulances. All of us were sitting around our large picnic table, just kind of talking, cutting up and everything. And she came out and she's like, the firefighters at this town need help. They've had an explosion of their fireworks. We emptied the base before we even notified dispatch what was going on. Like, we were gone. The crew I was part of, we were the first ones out the door, and we beat everybody else to scene by 5 minutes because we didn't hesitate. And the rest of them come behind us, and we've talked to people since who witnessed it that night who were like, whoa. And we're like, what do you mean? They said, well, we saw one truck go by, and we're like, oh, must be something bad. And then about 5 minutes later, it was 1, 2, 3, all in a row. And I thought, oh, it must be really, really bad.
That day I saw that guy unalive himself. Have you ever been in a situation where something's going wrong and your mind is fully aware, but your body, you're no longer in control of your body?
Yep.
So that had happened to me that day. My brain was saying, you need to leave. You need to leave. This is not a situation you need to put yourself in. Get out. But the entire time my brain was racking that thought, my legs were moving towards this guy.
Right.
Like, I had to do my job.
Well, that's like, talking about the situation there about the active shooter. That was whenever I worked, and it was a neighboring county, but we sent every available officer we had, and a dispatch center, especially a 911 dispatch center, it's rarely quiet. But during that, there was nobody talking. Everybody was focused. We have little foot pedals, so we have buttons or foot pedals that we can use to dispatch. All you heard was the squeak of the foot pedals. That's that and the radios. Like there was nobody talking. Everybody was focused. Everybody was just trying to make sure everybody was okay. And talking about the whole kind of like your body taking over type deal. One of the very first reports that we got called from the neighboring county, the one that it was happening in, and one of the very first reports that we got is, "Hey, you're going to have some people rolling through your city, pretty hot. This is what we have going on." And one of the first reports was that either an EMT or a paramedic had possibly been shot, and that was hard for me because I've got all of you guys that it could have been any of you guys, but I had to kind of push that out of my mind and just go into the job, and I do remember sending a text to check on everybody, but after that, I don't think I touched my phone again until we knew more about what was going on and that everybody was safe. And I was still pretty new to I wasn't new to dispatch, but I was new to the 911 dispatch world.
Which I assume is, that's a big transition going from just handling EMS too.
It is. That's one thing that I was kind of talking to Schizo about. Don't get me wrong, like no disrespect to the private dispatch companies, but I worked the private dispatch world for 3 or 4 years total, and you always knew what was coming in. It was
Yeah.
either going to be a dispatch of a public service telling you of a call, or it was going to be an upset facility somewhere that needed to send somebody out for a broken toe. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's what you were getting. So it was kind of the same thing over and over. Like there wasn't really that chaoticness to it. Whenever you're in a 911 center and you're actually taking that call from someone's house where they are literally having the worst day of their life, and you're having to try and remember all the right questions, you're having to try and keep them calm, you're having to try and give them directions, like all of that combined is a completely different world. And then on top of that, you're also trying to get people on the way to help them.
Right.
um, I, I was very, very new to the 911 world. I think I was about 3 weeks in whenever I got my first accidental drowning, and it was a 6-year-old kid. And no shade to my 911 center at the time, but at the time, I was not fully certified on EMD, which is emergency medical dispatch. And as soon as the call came in, and keep in mind, like I mean, it was your average night. We didn't really have a whole lot of traffic. I mean, I was laid back in my chair playing on my phone. I ain't gonna lie, because it was that slow. And a 911 call rang in. I answered 911. Where's your emergency? And this lady was so hysteric that I could barely even understand what she was saying. And I heard the words, "My son," and "drowned." And I covered my mic up and told the guy that was next to me, I said, "I've got an accidental drowning." And he threw the book at me, the EMD book at me, and he said, "Where's it at? I'll get him on the way." And I spent about 25 minutes on the phone with this mom trying to keep her calm and talk her through doing proper CPR on her 6-year-old and keep my composure the whole time. So, completely different world. Completely different world.
Which
It's not easy.
and I would assume, especially being in the service, Callie. I mean, you probably had an instance where you've had a moment of, where your body just takes over doing what it's supposed to be doing while your mind is in a completely different world.
Yes.
And so my question is like when, kind of like how you mentioned earlier, Schizo, of those flashbacks, and how I mentioned sometimes sleep is just not there. you know, because your mind, like, what do you guys do to cope with it?
Uh, there isn't really anything you can do. I always see when I have my nightmares, I'm always back on the battlefield. My rifle never fires. I don't have ammo, and I don't know what's going on. Trying to save somebody, trying to get out. It every single time there's been thousands of them. Weapon never works. You know, you don't know how to get away. You don't know how to save somebody. And I don't think there's anything that takes that away. It's just always there. You don't want to dream about that stuff, but
Right.
I mean, I wish there was a way to get rid of it, but I don't think there is, to be honest.
I will say, the entire time I got along with pretty much everybody I worked with at the 911 center, but that was the one time that even with the shooter stuff, like once that was settled and our guys let us know that everything was code 4, everything was you know was okay, everything was under control, they had got the guy, like it was kind of like, okay, back straight into the run of things, pick up
Mm-hmm.
pick up the next call and go on. But with the accidental drowning, I literally looked at the dude I was with and I said, I literally despise you right now. And I said, I'm gonna go take a lunch. And I got up and walked out because I just had to have a minute to compose myself. Um, and in that moment, like honestly that's one of those situations where understaffing could get really dangerous, because there was times at that center that I worked at that on the overnight shift they were so understaffed that there would be one dispatcher that was doing the answering and the dispatching in the overnight hours. And if that would have been the case with that particular call, I don't think I could have done it, because I was so focused on trying to help this mom that I just had to trust that my coworker was reading the call notes, was getting the correct people on the way, giving them the right information. I had to zone in to what I was doing.
I think that's one reason when I was on the truck that I was very appreciative for who my partner was. Not just because he's a brother to me, but I knew that if something happened, he had my trust. I knew hundred
You can
percent
rely on him.
my life's in his hands just as much as his is in mine. And if you
Damn
can't
right.
have that on a truck, then you're not gonna be anything anyway. I mean, there'll always be things. If something does happen and something goes wrong, or if it's one of those calls that are so unexpected or anything, most of the time if we were going on a call and it was questionable, he already had a plan before we got there. We'd be rolling up and he's already got his plan told out loud to me. And I was like, all right, I'm down. I got you. Like, I mean, his first concern more than anything was at the end of the day, me and you were going home. But
Yep.
as far as um, those moments on how you get through them and how you deal with them, um, before everybody else wants to try and answer on it, my go to, especially when sleep is not there because your mind just can't shut down, I literally go to my couch and I lay face first and bury my face down in the pillows and the cushions, and I cry out to God to help me, because there's no one else and nothing that a doctor can give me or prescribe me that is going to take that away.
I think that's where I lack. Um, I mean,
We'll get you there.
no, I was gonna say y'all have shown a lot of faith, and it's been rubbing off on me. And I'm striving to find it. I really am.
Anybody can find it, brother.
Seek and you will find.
It says 2 minutes 45 seconds. Straight up heavy. We're focused, they say.
So, before I answer that, I'll address your wife's comment there. I've never seen Taco drive that fast. He's usually a Papa driver. I am literally the textbook example of due regard. If it's not really an emergency, the best you're going to get is 60, 65 miles. If it's a real emergency, I can put the Indy 500 to shame. Which is a thing that most of my coworkers really actually like, because if it's not a real emergency, they don't want to struggle to keep balance in the back of a truck. If it's a real emergency, they want to be at the ER yesterday, so they actually prefer that kind of thing. But to answer that question, I actually have a harder time relating to it because, like I've said a few times, and Napkins loves to say somebody clip, I have to be somewhere on the autism spectrum because I'm not wired that way. Things don't stick with me like that. In a real emergency, my brain isn't going through a million different things and hanging on to like facts and things that will haunt me. Instead, it's immediately into, okay, do this, do that, do this thing now, and do my job. Like my brain is going through all the steps of how best to do my job in that emergency. Outside of that, it's like it has no lasting impact on me emotionally. And I'm fully aware that's not normal. I'm not normal in that way.
I
So
could have told you
really,
you ain't normal years ago.
so I can't really relate to, having those things try and create doubt at me or try to bring me down or anything.
It's because, oh,
No. Uh, to be honest, I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can do. I mean, you see some traumatic stuff. I mean, if you've seen some horrible stuff,
it leaves an
doesn't,
effect.
No amount of therapy in the world is ever going to make you forget about it. You know, uh, I'm a bit like Taco, as you know. I mean, like I said, that one call right there is probably the thing that haunts
Stuck.
me the most.
Yeah.
Stuck. Just because I mean, even people who work EMS, it's not often that you do come across suicides and whatnot
Yeah.
in the field, but it's very rare that you witness one take place. You know, so as far as all the other calls that I've been on, as bad as they were, me and McMedic, we worked a suicide together, and gruesome scene, horrible, but that's not one I think about.
Right.
You know,
And it's not like the gruesome, nasty calls that stick with me. I mean, there's several bad calls, as I would label them, that I've worked and that I could think about if I wanted to. But the ones that pop up when you don't want them to, when you have to work bad calls that are on family members, they stick. When you have to work bad calls on kids, they stick with me because for a long time when I got into EMS, if I worked any call that dealt with a child, after that call, you couldn't have forced me to go on another one for at least 5 minutes because I didn't care what time of the night it was. I called and I would have my kids woke up so that I could talk to them because that was what helped me work past it. And it could be because of how long that I've been in EMS and the amount of calls. I mean, when you think of a bad call and stuff, it's not all the gruesome, nasty stuff you see and all that. I mean, it could be something simple as, it was that little old mama that passed away right there, where all she wanted was somebody to hold her hand, and it was your hand she was holding. I mean, it could be some. It could be. I mean, a lot of it, you know, the stuff that sticks and pops up that I deal with and struggle with, and they're the calls that. Some of them are calls that I just wish I never went on. I don't regret going on them, but there are sometimes, you know, I wish I would have tried to get a different crew to deal with it so that I wouldn't be dealing with this now. But I don't regret doing it. I'd go on the same call again to do what I could for those people.
I've always had a phenomenal ability to shut it off. You know, no matter how bad it was.
Well, see, that's what EMS teaches you too. You know, it doesn't matter how bad that call is. You
gotta flip the switch.
Right, you gotta flip the switch, go straight on another one. And I think that's one thing that's where since I've been sidelined, so much more free time. I think it was part of just PTSD setting in. It says ads are going to run in a minute and a half.
Sometimes, you go on a call that's not, like I said, it wasn't the gruesomeness of the call that I went on. It was the shock of it all.
Right.
I mean, I just witnessed somebody leave this world in one of the most violent ways possible. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
And it would have been totally different if that had happened 5 minutes before you got there.
Yeah.
You would have probably never remembered the call.
Yeah. But, the shock of it all is definitely a factor.
Yeah. Man, I remember some calls too, like when you go on DOAs and you're worried about how the family's going to react because they react so many different ways, and you're really, dreading telling them, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. And here they are just stepping over the body, walking out with the TV, and you're like, what is happening right now?
Mud Creek, that's what's happening.
It says 30 seconds they're going to run.
But, yeah, I mean, Cal, been in the military, he's probably seen some horrible stuff. And, it's like I said, it's not, I don't think it's probably the gruesomeness of what happened, but the shock. You know, this person's here and then they're gone.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
It is more the shock. It's something that you never think of, but when you actually fall asleep, you relive it in different ways. And it sucks.
And it can be how it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
That whole, could I have done something different?
Right.
Yes.
That's got to be the worst thought in the world.
You'll dream it a dozen different ways.
And I think that's the torture of it. Like when you're dreaming it, I mean, you're trying different ways than when it happened, because sometimes the dreams are completely different than how it did happen, and you're trying different ways to deal with them, and nothing works. It's always the same outcome.
Yeah, nothing ever works.
It sounds stupid, which I don't know if ads are playing. It says they are. Do you see any napkins?
I do not. Oh, yep.
There's an ad.
Okay, we'll wait a minute. In this awkward moment.
It was much too heavy of a discussion to have an ad break right in the middle.
Well, I'm out of the snoozes on the ads. I used all 3 during that discussion.
And sadly, I might have to hop off here shortly.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon.
Anybody that's listening on the podcasting platforms, again, we apologize for the awkwardness of the ad breaks.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, I'm gonna explain a dream that is so goofy, but it kind of explains kind of like what we're talking about too. It says 50 seconds and they should be over. I don't know what the ads are running at.
don't know, but that Taco Bell looked good.
It's the aftermath that'll get you, bub.
Indeed.
Every time. Every time.
What's it showing on your
27 seconds.
27?
Yeah.
It says 20 on my end.
Yeah, my ads are done.
Just
I've got
kept
14.
Yeah, they should be over once this countdown's over with. It says 8 seconds. Okay, says we're back. Hopefully we are. Sorry for the awkward moments. But just a quick little story that's goofy, but kind of explains like another aspect of what we're talking about. We had a family member. He was tormented by a dream. I think it was when he was in high school.
I know what
he
one
was,
you're going to talk about.
and it was the same every time for him though. But it was like he was in a desert, wide open, and there was just a doorway there, just a random door. And he
was
could,
riding a horse.
and he was riding a horse, and he could not walk through the door and take his horse. He couldn't walk around it. He had to go through that door, and he couldn't do it over and over and over.
And if he did go through it, it became an inflatable, like a water ring for a pool,
Yep.
but with a horse head on it that would start deflating.
Yep. Tormented him.
Man.
I'm telling you, man, like the mind can be such a scary, messed up place.
He would come to the point of tears if he repeated that story to anybody.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, the mind can become a prison.
Yep. You got to stop the spiral before it takes you. In the great words of Vet, sometimes you just got to grab life by the balls.
That's right.
Anybody got anything else on their mind before we wrap it up?
No.
Remember, John 3:16. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever would believe in him will not perish but have everlasting life.
Truth. Taco?
No, I'm good.
Cal?
I've been happy to be here tonight. I really appreciate y'all having me.
I will say I'm very excited for this spin-off series Beyond the Quest After Dark to start. Nothing else for us to get on and hang out for a couple hours together. This is awesome for me. But I believe it's going to wrap it up for our first episode. So until next time, love y'all. Jesus loves you more. Bye.
Bye.
God bless.
When the night comes alive and the lights grow dim, slim chance game and let the tales begin. McMedic's got the faith, Taco's bringing the fire. Napkins is schizo, raising thoughts higher.
With Calystus in the mix, we're breaking the mold.
Adventures untold, both brave and bold. Beyond the quest where the shadows gleam, we're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance game and play straight from the heart. Oh, brothers, steed up the brothers, steed. Oh, slim chance game and play straight from the heart.
From boss fights to prayers, every world we roam.
We're building connections and calling them home.
Roll the dice, press start, take a leap of faith.
In the glow of the screen, there's a sacred space. Pixelated skies, late night fights. Together we laugh and together we thrive.
From dungeons deep to celestial heights,
Slim chance gaming, let's play all night. Beyond the quest where the shadows gleam, we're chasing the light in a gamer's dream. Faith and friends, it's a journey we'll chart. Slim chance gaming, play it straight from the heart. Oh, brothers and steed up the brothers and steed. Oh, slim chance gaming, play it straight from the heart.
so grab your gear, let's take the ride. McMedic, napkins by your side. Schizo and Calystus lighting the spark.
This is Beyond the Quest After Dark.